What is up, everybody? The Hoofers out there. What is going on? We got a jam-packed show for you. I am Sterling. We got Eric over here. Anthony is moving to New York. He is moving to be with you guys. And we got a very special guest. Let me throw my man in here, Mr. Nate Geary himself from WGR. What is good, Nate? How you doing?
Good, fellas. Evening. How are we on this beautiful Tuesday evening?
Well, now that you're here, man. Now that you're here, I mean, it's a trifecta of awesome. Now, you're in a different room. Talk to me. Did you move? What's going on, bro?
I did. Since the last time you guys saw me, I'm no longer relegated to my kitchen. I have my own office in here. It's not quite set up yet, but next time you have me on, the back wall will be filled with some sort of Bills paraphernalia. I'll have some better lighting set up over here. But for the first time, I have my own area that doesn't echo into I thought this dude wasn't I thought he wasn't showing up. I thought we were gonna have a good, civilized, genuine adult chat, and then Anthony had to show up.
Here we go. I made it, gentlemen. It's certainly not ideal circumstances. I'm in a hotel.
Listen, I was just explaining the story about the new background behind me, which the best part about this, though, is that my cats can no longer take over as the star of the show behind me in my camera. So now they're locked out, and we are all football all the time over here.
I think you just lost a few listeners.
Yeah, probably. That's probably right.
Exiled the cats. Yeah, right. That's my family awesome. Is up in the room, so I'm in the lobby here. But yeah.
Anthony, where are you right now in your trek? Where are you at?
So we are in South Bend, Indiana area, and that's.
Let's go. Are you going to Notre Dame Stadium? You going to check it out?
Exactly right. We drove by it. Yeah, it was there. We drove by it. So
it's still there. Okay, good.
Made 8-hour drive. So we're making good time. We'll be in Syracuse tomorrow evening. So it's great. It's crazy. The car is packed up. There's no room for anything. Dog, baby, bunny, and wife. So it's been quite the trip so far.
An open highway, the American dream.
Exactly.
So
glad
to make it here, gentlemen.
Guess what, guys? We got a jam-packed show for you guys tonight. We're going to be talking about a topic that I've been wanting to know about, and it's one of those things that I kind of been wrestling with. This whole John Brown, Emmanuel Sanders thing, because I want to know, is he a real upgrade? And I kind of, did a lot of film study over the past couple weeks, and we're going to talk about that tonight. I know, Nate, you have your own thoughts about wide receiver position that you kind of echoed on Twitter. We'll get into some of those things. But before we even get started, and this is the Cover One Network that you guys already know what's up, how we do things around here. And they're saying I'm choppy, so you know what? Let me switch Wi-Fi real quick, because we can't be having no choppiness.
T-Pain, we got T-Pain, Sterling back, yeah.
Is T-Pain? Am I back in?
Oh,
am I back in now?
You're back.
That sounds a little better.
Okay.
You are no more auto.
Okay, yeah. Okay, good. So it's all good now, baby. So we're ready to go. So anyway, what I was saying was this whole John Brown, Emmanuel Sanders thing, been doing a lot of research and study about it. We're going to talk about it tonight. But before we get started, like I was saying before, I don't know if you guys heard me if I was doing the T-Pain thing. This is the Cover One Network. You already know how we get down around here. And we do have a sponsor. Our sponsor is Underdog Fantasy. This is the best place to play fantasy sports, including best ball, daily drafts, and pick 'em. You can start drafting in minutes, and if you use the code Cover1, they will match up to $25 on your first deposit. I'm just saying, this is player prop parlays. There's some things that you cannot say that I will not mention tonight, but use at your own risk, people. Just like alcohol, you drink at your own risk. You play player prop parlays as well. What are you drinking, Nate? What's going on down there?
I am drinking a delicious Prohibition-style Old Forester. It's 115 proof, so it's got a little, as the ladies might say, a little bit of balls.
Okay.
But by the time this is done and it's filled, I don't know if you guys can see, it's filled exactly to the bourbon line on my glass here. Black Button Distilling.
Nice.
Very
Black
handy.
Button Distilling, little shameless plug there. But yeah, this is my Tuesday routine. I will be drinking bourbon and talking football with you fellas. So
Okay, so let me go on and drop mine then. So I'm more of the on the girly route. This is absolute lime vodka that I am drinking with a little bit of Sprite. You know, black folks love their Sprite, so I'm getting down on that tonight. You know, it's usually wine. I usually bring out the wine for in season during games. You know, what we do. But right now it's a cool summer, so you guys are probably drinking water. Anthony, your wife just had a baby, so you know you can't drink. Eric, what are you drinking, bro?
I got a Goose Island Kolsch. A little smooth,
Oh, God.
you know, crisp taste. You know, not too heavy. But
All
two of those should do me for tonight.
All right, let's do some shout outs before we get started. My guy, Dan Mitchell, man, with the super chat. Appreciate you, bro. He says, just wanted to pop in and show some love, dudes. Go Bills. Just so you guys know, man, Dan Mitchell is one of those guys. He's going all the time. You can find him on YouTube. He has great content. I think he's still dropping stuff every single day. He's dropping Bills content. If you have not checked him out, by all means, check him out. And no, he did not pay me to do that. Dan, I am a follower. I watch his content. So, Dan Mitchell, appreciate you though. Now you kind of did.
Kind of did pay for that. Yeah.
But thank you for stopping by, Dan. We appreciate
Good
it.
to see you, Dan.
John Herring, what's up, peace, man? How you doing? We got Dennis Chapman in here. He says, "Go Bills." Reptile, I didn't get to holler at you last week, bro, but how you doing, man? Trash is in here. Says, if you stop in Cleveland, you have to stop at Melts. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's a sandwich shop. Maybe you can get with him. Y'all can talk about that.
Cleveland this trip, but I plan to visit Cleveland soon because I have a lot of friends there now. So I'll take that suggestion.
Nice humble brag, Anthony.
I know, right? I know.
Got a
I'm
connection.
popular.
I know
I'm popular.
people. Hey, Greg Tomset, right? He's in Cleveland.
That is true. So is Bruce Nolan, but you guys don't know about that.
That's true. That's true.
He could be anywhere.
That's right. He could be anywhere.
That's true. FBI. All right. So shall we get into this? So just so you guys know out there how we do our show a little bit different. Our guests do not really know the topics of the show, so it's kind of off the cuff. So we're going to talk about around the league, and when we do that, this is called What's Poppin'. All right, this is where we go around the league to talk the latest and the greatest in the NFL, kind of the hot topics surrounding the league. And the first topic tonight, fellas, are you ready? First topic tonight. Aaron, the man, the myth, the legend, Aaron Rodgers turns down contract from Green Bay. Reportedly, it was a 2-year contract to make him the highest paid player in NFL history. We know what's been going on with Aaron Rodgers this offseason. He don't want to come back. He don't want to play for them. And it's not just money, or otherwise he would have taken a contract. So what do you guys think about Aaron Rodgers? Is he kind of being a punk, or does he have some validity to what he's angry about? We'll start with Nate. Eric will go with you. Anthony will finish with you.
So it's definitely not a money thing, right? He just signed. He's in year 1 of a 4-year contract extension. Obviously, this was an additional 2 years, which would have made it 6 more years, or I'm sorry, 5 total years additional that he would be tied to the team. And you just wonder, as this is all playing out, where Jordan Love fits into all this, right? Like, it's not his fault the team drafted him. It's not Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers thinks it's the team's fault. I don't think there's really a coexistence if Aaron Rodgers is there as your long-term starter. If you're signing him to another 2-year contract extension a year after signing to a 4-year contract extension, you're moving on from Jordan Love, right? I mean, you're trading Jordan Love. I mean, that you're making a 5-year commitment to a quarterback who's about to be 40. But to dial it back to mostly directly answer your question, which is, I think there's a little bit of validity. I think for the most part, this is just Aaron Rodgers. He's made his stance known. He does not want to play in Green Bay. I think this is just another domino in that, stance of him now no longer wanting to play there. And I just, at this point, it's the 20th of the month. The Bills and several other teams, rookies, just reported to training camp today. Training camp kicks off in a week. I'm skeptical that in the time frame between now and the start of training camp that he gets moved in. He's going to need all of training camp to to be able to adapt to a new offense. He himself, if you take his own word for it, says it takes 2 years for him to really understand and fully be able to run an offense. And in his second year in Matt LaFleur's system, he wins the MVP. So, listen, as much as we all can agree that Aaron Rodgers is that guy and that dude and the reigning MVP, and if you don't want to play somewhere, he's likely got the leverage to not play there. So we're kind of seeing that play out in real time. But ultimately, the final leverage does stand with the Green Bay Packers. They have a signed contract. I forget who would have mentioned this as a direct quote, but signed, sealed, delivered. That's done. So we'll
Stevie Wonder.
Right.
Stevie Wonder.
There you go.
Waiting for somebody. Come on. But no, I think at the end of the day, we're in a position here where it's a standoff, a good old Mexican standoff. Both guys are drawn both guns, and I have yet to see anybody blink. And I'll really be interested to see, because someone will blink. I think most people's money is on Aaron Rodgers blinking. And I think if you've ever been paying attention to Aaron Rodgers, he'd rather retire, I think, than play for them.
Jeopardy pays well, I hear. Eric, what do you got?
It does.
I think Aaron Rodgers is at the top of his game right now. I mean, he's playing lights out, leading the league in all kinds of categories. So it's an unfortunate situation. And I think it's unfortunate for Jordan Love as well, because when you take a quarterback in the first round, what you want to hear is Jordan Love is playing so well, we're not going to offer Aaron Rodgers that extension, right? That 2-year extension. And that just doesn't seem like that's the case. So, Green Bay's got a mess to clean up, and that's kind of the risk you take when you do draft a quarterback in the first round. And I'm kind of interested to see how this plays out. I think ultimately Rodgers gets out somehow, because he is the king in the NFL right now, coming off his MVP season, winning 13 games back-to-back. I think what
he won, or
is,
the organization won. I mean, yes, he's the MVP of the league, but
I think moving forward, Aaron Rodgers will get what he wants eventually.
I don't know. Here's what I think. I combine a little bit of both of what you said here, because I do believe the team has all of the leverage and some, right? Great, Aaron Rodgers. You don't want to play for us? Enjoy retirement. We've got Jordan Love, and we're ready to roll with him. Now, Eric, I kind of disagree with what you said on Jordan Love. I think if the team believes he's ready to go, they're confident they're ready to go with him. They want to see what he can do for sure. But when you have Aaron Rodgers as your other choice, I mean, the guy is the MVP of the league, and he's played better at quarterback than most everybody ever in history in the last couple of years. So you always give him money and try to keep that guy over. I don't care who the second best is, right? You're still picking Aaron Rodgers over anybody at that point. So I think the smart thing to do is to pursue what they did, the extension. Okay, if we keep you, then we get rid of Jordan Love because we have you. We don't care how good Jordan Love is. We know what you are. Right. So, but having Jordan Love gives them even more leverage. And I don't care. I fall on the side of the team. They have all the leverage here. I get it. You're the best player. You want to leave, and maybe they want to get something for you if they trade you for a couple of first-round picks or whatever it may be. But I don't think they will ultimately. It's going to be Aaron Rodgers. You show up and play for us, or that's it. Enjoy retirement. You're not playing football, period. Because the team kind of, they have the leverage there. And I think ultimately, if it comes down to that, he will play for them, I think, in the end. Even if it's only for this year and then work it out and see where they could trade him or whatever it may be. They have all the power here. So it's interesting.
Well, go ahead. Sure. Nate, go ahead with closing comments on this topic.
I was just going to say, if Aaron Rodgers really is serious about this, he should really consider approaching the Green Bay Packers or having his agent approach the Green Bay Packers and ask to void the remaining part of his contract. And say, you don't have to pay us any money. Contract's off your books. There's no penalty where I'm willingly walking into a negotiation telling you to let me off your books and cut me loose a week before training camp to become a free agent and let me go choose my own destination. Now, if you're Green Bay, is that the win that you're looking for? Because you essentially lose one of, if not the most valuable asset in the NFL for literally nothing, but you also accrue no dead cap penalty for trading him with years remaining left on his contract. I believe if you look at it from that perspective, that is the only win-win that exists for Green Bay. Now, that's not a win-win if you're Aaron Rodgers, because you're arguably, I think in this situation, I think you could agree that I don't know the logistics of how you could actually void the contract, but I would assume if Aaron Rodgers approached them about creating some kind of agreement where they just null and void the remaining part of the contract, he becomes a free agent.
The only issue I see with that is you're bringing in the players union and the owners association, right? The owners are going to say, hell no, because then every player is going to want to do that, right? Yeah, and then, no, contract's a contract. You cannot do that.
But
right?
I guess more so, I guess from a theoretical standpoint, if Aaron Rodgers really wants out, like that should be something that they go out and say, or like be willing to concede you getting paid if it means you getting the hell out and getting into a situation that you want to get into. Again, that is a total hypothetical situation. I guess for me, this is really just about who's blinking first. That wouldn't be a blink. That would be a chess move that I don't think a lot of people would see coming, but it would be a move that gets Rodgers to what he's ultimately wanting, which is to be out. He's made his money. He's going to make money wherever he goes and signs if he potentially becomes a free agent, and maybe he gets paid even more. So again, it's all hypothetical, but like these are things that I think you have to be thinking about if you're Aaron Rodgers.
And I'll say this in closing on this topic, that it is a players' league. The players run the league now, where players this comes from the NBA, where players have so much pull these days. So it puts these owners in a box where they're either going to have to start treating players better now, whatever side of the spectrum you're on, or they're going to have to start really thinking about we might have to move some pillars, and Aaron Rodgers will be a monumental shift in our league. So let's keep it moving here. Melvin Ingram signs with the Steelers. This impacts the Bills week 1. This is a guy since 2015 who has not had anything under the 7 sacks. Obviously, last year he was injured, so he really didn't play. But from what we've seen, he's an effective pass rusher. He's pretty solid in run fits. What say you? Anthony, we'll start with you. Nate, you, and then Eric will finish off with you here.
I think this is, listeners of our show will know that I was a fan of Ingram. I wanted the Bills to get him as a potential before the draft, right? Before we knew that we were drafting 2 edge players to come in as rookies and be the future. I thought Ingram would have been a good piece for a veteran team that has some pieces in place that needs a complementary piece. I think he's still got some left in the tank. Now, what he can bring to that Steelers team, obviously, he basically becomes their best pass rusher. They lost Bud Dupree this offseason. And is he still ready for that role? We're going to see. But obviously, when you think of the Steelers, you think of defense, and he fits that scheme well. And it seems in your mind, the Steelers organization, what Ingram can do, that's a good fit. That team is going to get the most out of him if he can stay healthy. And I think, it is going to end up being a good match. But is it enough for me to say, wow, the Steelers are a contender? The Steelers are going to have a good defense against the Bills in week 1? Absolutely not. I'm still not scared of that team. It's a good addition for them. It makes them better, but I don't even think they're in contention to win the division at this point.
Oh, we got Joe in the house. What's up, Joe? That's my guy. What's going on? All right, Eric, what you got, man?
Well, the Steelers, this is such a Steelers move. I mean, 35% of the time last season, they had pressure on the quarterback, a hurry, a knockdown, or a sack. That's first in the league. And I think Melvin Ingram coming in, he's going to have to up his game to fill that Bud Dupree role. I mean, Melvin Ingram last season, only 12 pressures on 35 snaps. I mean, that sounds like a rotational player to me. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, they're going to have to add some other pieces there as well, I think. But hopefully he can revitalize in the Steelers system, because he has had some down years in the past few years, And with TJ Watt on the other side, it's going to be a headache. It's a headache every time you play the Steelers in that defense. They've been good for so long. But I think Melvin Ingram, it's a good situation for him. But I bet they expect more production moving forward from him.
Mm-hmm. All right, Nate.
I love it.
Okay, I got you.
I love it. Listen, I mean, he's not the 2015, the 2016 version of Melvin Ingram. He is a small, compact 3-4 edge outside linebacker, and that will fit into the role of that defense. I never really viewed him as an option for the Bills. I don't view him as particularly at this point in his career, as a guy that I think can win in a 4-3 hand in the dirt type of situation. So I love the name. But as you guys know, names that get picked up on July 20th, what is the real impact those guys are having? And I think the point about their defense, yeah, I'm definitely interested to see how this defense looks without Bud Dupree on the other side of TJ Watt, and what that potentially means for TJ Watt's production, as teams are going to be able to really potentially tee off on trying to come up with new creative ways to block TJ Watt. So it'll be interesting now that he's sort of the direct focus of that defense. They don't really have that competent edge rusher on the other side of him like he's had over the last several years with Dupree. And because my question goes from, okay, Melvin Ingram is fine, but who's playing corner for that football team? Mm-hmm. Is it Joe Hayden? Joe Hayden's your number one corner? Who's their number two corner? I know Steelers fans that can't name who their number two corner is going to be going into this season. I mean, they lose Mike Nelson. Who else they lost? They lost another starting, maybe they're, or Mike Hilton, I'm sorry, and Steve Nelson, right?
Steven Nelson, yeah.
Steven Nelson and Mike Hilton. I combined the two. So yeah, they lost both of those players. Now, they're not all pro. They're replacement level players, but they're starters from last season in the Steelers that they don't return. Right. So it's an aging defense. They will get Devin Bush back. We'll see how healthy he can be after a really tough injury last season. So listen, like Melvin Ingram is just a guy on that defense, particularly on that defensive line that I think does still feature a lot of, particularly Stephen Tuitt. You know, I'm a Notre Dame fan. My man Anthony's in South Bend, Indiana, so it's a good plug here. Stephon Tuitt is an all-pro 3-4 defensive end and does not get enough credit as being one of the most dominant players at his position in the league.
Well, Nate, I did not know you were a Notre Dame fan. I'm a Michigan guy. I mean, I scream that from the rooftops here. But much respect to Touchdown Jesus. Michigan ain't got nothing to talk about if it ain't on the hardwood. So I already know we suck.
True. You did beat us last year or 2 years ago, though. So last time Notre Dame played Michigan.
It rained hard.
It did. I was at the one in 2018. Yes, 2018 at home against Michigan, and we stomped Shea Weber. Or Shea, what is his name? Is that
Shea
his name?
Patterson?
Shea Weber.
Weber. They both quit. Time out. I need a minute. I agree with you guys. Look, man, I think we don't give enough credit to what Bud Dupree actually brought to the table. When we talked about the Steelers defense, he will not be able to fill Bud Dupree's shoes.
Having said that, he was not worth the money that Tennessee gave him.
He was not worth the money, but his role and what he was really effective in his role with the Steelers. Yeah. So, I mean, much respect to him and what they got going on. But I still expect the Bills to beat that ass in September and move in front of care.
Beat the brakes right off.
Yeah. You get a cracked out Lawrence Taylor, they're still going to lose. So, all right. So, can the Rams win the NFC West with the addition of Matt Stafford? This is one of the most intriguing teams in the NFC West. That's a tough-ass division. All those teams there are good. And then today, Cam Akers suffers a torn Achilles, man. Like, can it get any worse? So, Eric, we'll start with you. Nate, Anthony, you'll finish, and then we'll get on to our Bills discussion.
All right, it's one of the tougher divisions in football, so it's hard just to say any one of those teams can win the division this early in the season. But I'll say no on this because I think it's time for the Cardinals to step up, and I still like Seattle for that division. But, I mean, Stafford coming over certainly helps. I mean, we'll see on that. Matthew Stafford, still an average quarterback per his QBR. Hasn't thrown 30 touchdown passes since 2015. I mean, if you want to say he has more weapons now, sure. But, I mean, he's had weapons the past few seasons with Kenny Golladay, Marvin Jones. And I think the one thing he does have to benefit is coaching. I don't think he's had consistent coaching. If you want to compare Matt Stafford to some other quarterbacks, I mean, Russell Wilson, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, all have consistent coaching. And that's something he's really never experienced. So I don't think it's this season, but maybe a couple seasons down the road, they're the team to beat in that division. But I do not think it is this upcoming season.
So let's put the Cam Akers thing aside really quick. Mm-hmm. Yes, I do believe Matthew Stafford helps them win that division. I do think they're a legitimate Super Bowl contender. I also, in the same breath, don't believe that Matthew Stafford is like, this far above Jared Goff at this point in his career. He is better than Jared Goff. Don't give me any hot takes on this one. He is better than Jared Goff. But the degree at this point of his career, we'll see what that is, what the degree of that, and in year one of a new system. But let's talk about the Cam Akers aspect of this and whether or not that injury changes the answer to whether or not this is an NFC West contender for the division and a Super Bowl contender. Did the Vegas odds change at all? No, they didn't. Are we mad as dynasty fantasy owners? Yes, we are. We are overreacting like crazy today. All of a sudden, running backs become important when one hurts their ankle before training camp. Yeah. Give me a break. It doesn't matter who the running back is. They had Malcolm frickin' Brown and Cam Akers half the season last year and Henderson half the season. And look what they did. Yep. They don't want to run the football. That's like the Bills. Who cares back there?
Yes.
You want to throw Matt Breida? Cool. You want to throw Antonio Williams? Do it.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if they're cheap. If they're cheap and they're young, turn around and hand it to them the 15 times a game you're going to do it, and then win like the rest of the teams that are here in the 21st century, winning football games, competing for conference titles. Who gives a shit about the running back? And this is not a shot at Cam Akers. Good young player. Yes. I think he's dynamic. He is a runner. Dime a dozen. Right. Go get LaShawn McCoy at this point in his career. I bet you they end up with.
I was just going to say, numbers. Nate, you're on the same page as me here. You're preaching to me. I'm like, God, he's stealing the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, a veteran like LaShawn McCoy, that's a team that nobody gets more than 8 touches a game because they use.
And they're going to go against 5-man boxes anyway. So who cares?
And completely in fantasy, you're right. Cam Akers was like the guy who's going to take that next step. Maybe he'll get more touches. He's the more explosive playmaker in that team coming into his second year. I was a fan of him. I was telling people, hey, I'll draft that guy. Now he's injured. Yes, that sucks for them. Is it a setback? Not really. That changes nothing for that team. And I'm actually high on the Rams. I think Matt Stafford going to the Rams is similar to Peyton Manning coming to the Broncos at the end of his career when they were like, okay, we're ready to move on. We're rebuilding in Indy. So I think, yes, this is a very well-built team. We know who's the best football player in the world right now. It's Aaron Donald, and he plays for that team.
Hold on,
defense is unbelievably.
My man TJ Yeldon's going to run for a band. TJ Yeldon will run for a band in that offense.
We need him for those 2 catches each season.
Hey, if anybody out there, something to think about.
I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite of Eric on the NFC West, though. I think that the Arizona Cardinals will still finish in last place in that division. I think that the San Francisco 49ers are the real contender to win that division over the Rams and Seattle. Seattle has been a disappointment the last 2 years. They're third place to me. First place is between San Fran and the Rams. I totally give the Rams.
Hold up. I didn't ask you for a damn rundown of the AFC West, NFC West. Okay?
Well, you asked me, do the Rams have a chance?
Hold on. Let me pop in here. You're still talking, sir. You're still talking. Hold on 1 minute, sir. Look, Matt Stafford, Sean McVay, I think that's going to be a great marriage, a great union. I think when you watch the film, there are things that Matt Stafford can do for that offense that Jared Goff could not. And I think that's going to benefit them. And you're right. And maybe it lessens the importance of having a running back to the caliber of Cam Akers in the room. But running backs, they do matter. And if you have an impactful one that could change the game like he did, I think it matters. Moving on to the Bills talk. Shall we, guys? Shall we get this thing on? Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and do this. This is the Inside Slant, people. This is where we talk all of our Bills information, and this is why we have you here today. You guys are here to hear about our Buffalo Bills. This is the Inside Slant, and if you haven't already, like, follow, and subscribe to the Hoof Podcast because we are in midseason form. Anthony is a homer as usual, and we're going to get it started. Okay, throwing some shade on my guy Anthony tonight. Okay, so here we go.
That bullshit. You know how I feel about
that. Bills, listen. Wide receiver depth chart. Let's go on and get this out the way before we talk anything else about Buffalo Bills wide receivers. We're going to give our 6. Now, let's keep it concise so we can get to the main topic of tonight's conversation. But let's get our 6 in. I won't even give mine. I'll let you guys do yours. Eric, you go first. Anthony, Nate, you're going to finish because Nate definitely have some. He may have a little different take on his 6. So let's get him started.
It's really complicated because we need a kick returner, not a receiver. Right? It complicates things for me. So I'll go Cole Beasley, Stephon Diggs, Emmanuel Sanders, Isaiah McKenzie, Gabe Davis, 5. And give me Tanner Gentry.
What?
McKenzie's our kick returner. And I'll go Tanner Gentry. Why? Josh Allen's boy. Every great quarterback gets one. I think Tanner.
He's got one. His name's Jacob Hollister.
Listen, hold on. Listen. Yeah, oh my God. Let me tell you something. I love Eric, but he lost his flipping mind. Tanner Gentry cannot carry the Wegmans groceries from my damn car. From the store to my car, he's not carrying my groceries. And he ain't touching the football.
I would take Duke Williams over Tanner Gentry at this point.
I'm muting him. He's on a 5-minute pause for that. I don't care.
But seriously, I think he was on the right track.
He's still talking.
The top 4 are locked in. We know that, right? The top 4, we're all going to agree on, pretty much. And I think Isaiah McKenzie, the team really believes in him. They know what he can do in terms of the gadget plays, the returns. So then that last spot for me, I got to take Isaiah Hodgins. We heard the hype last year. We know he's healthy now. I loved him as the Bills pick last year as I did more research on him. The guy's got the best hands of anybody in that draft pretty much. Never drops a pass. I want to see him in the red zone, go up and get a ball and throw it to him and watch him catch it on the sideline, contested catches. So, yeah, I'm going with Hodgins as my last guy.
So Anthony mentioned Duke Williams, and a bunch of people just like around the world, Bills Mafia was like, Duke Williams. Somebody said Duke Williams. So my Duke Williams sensors are ringing.
That's right.
So I'm once again inclined to agree with Anthony about the hierarchy of what it looks like. I disagree with Eric in this point is just like they keep technically 4 running backs on the roster, 3 on the game day roster, because usually 1 sits, but it's not Tywan Jones. I would be willing to bet this is a team that could keep 3 tight ends and potentially 7 wide receivers, and one of them being Stevenson, or a guy that is your designated kick return player who could also potentially have a jet sweep type of role. That would not surprise me, particularly because maybe they dress 2 wide receiver or 2 tight ends come game day. That's not a huge part of their offense. And in a worst case scenario, you lose a tight end during the game, you bump down Hodgins or something. You know what I'm saying? So I would be willing to bet that is more likely than them just keeping somebody on the roster as a I guess my point is they wouldn't be afraid to keep a kick returner stowed away as a 7th receiver because they do it already at running back for special teams.
Right. And that is something to consider. And just keep in mind, guys, what Spencer Brown is and what he does. He is
great point as well.
He is that Lee. He could be Lee Smith, but gives you way more upside from just a receiving point of view.
Other than having to report eligible every play.
So you could do 2 tight ends, you could do 2 quarterbacks, and there's your 7th receiver right there. So if you had to have 7, who were you adding? So
Stevenson.
I know. Okay, Stevenson. Eric, I don't want to hear you. You're gonna say Moses or Derrick Rodgers.
Who's
gonna say Derrick Rodgers?
Who's the other
Anthony?
The other wide receiver we signed at the bottom of the roster? Yeah, I would definitely take Stevenson as well. I think because they drafted him, they want to see what he's got. They have to put him on the roster rather than put him on waivers to see if somebody's going to pick him up.
Listen, I don't. This is not racist. Okay, don't get me wrong. I don't want to see a bunch of white dudes playing receiver for the Bills.
Yeah, there's already one. Okay,
True.
As a white guy, that's enough.
Yeah,
we got our Dom.
One
BB.
is plenty.
I don't need a bunch of white boys out there. I'm just telling you right now. We need some dudes out there going. You know what I'm saying?
One is plenty. We agree.
And he raps. So I mean, is he white? I don't think so. Just saying. Conspiracy. Here we go. All right, so we got our depth chart going on. So with that being said, Gabriel Davis is a hot name. He's a hot topic around Bills Mafia. We all kind of talk about him. We don't know. This is a guy that had roughly 7 touchdowns and 600 receiving yards last year, and he's kind of a darling. Bleacher Report names him the Bills X Factor, of whatever you want to call him. But I think Bills fans, we all have an idea. But I want to know what you guys expect for him coming into this season. Let's do our stat predictions. Nate, we'll start with you. Anthony, we'll go with you. Eric will end with you. Stat prediction for Gabriel Davis.
So I would say he's probably due for a slight increase in volume. So I could probably see him somewhere around the lines of like 45, 700, and 5 or 6. I don't necessarily I think the 7 touchdowns is a lot. I think a guy like Emmanuel Sanders is going to play a little bit more of a role in the red zone as well as a red zone target. I also think Jacob Hollister is a guy that they're going to be able to use in the red zone and already has that rapport built with Josh Allen. So yeah, for me, I think that's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm again on the same page as Nate. We're on the same page tonight, but I'm actually going to say that Gabe Davis takes a step back because of Emmanuel Sanders.
Okay.
Emmanuel Sanders is now going to be that 3 and permanent 3. Obviously, when John Brown was out last year, Gabe Davis was that 3. And so Beasley, Diggs, and I think Emmanuel Sanders takes away some of that production, doesn't erase the value of what Gabriel Davis is. I'm not saying he's going to take a step back talent-wise or anything like that. Just production. He's going to continue to grow into a receiver, and Emmanuel Sanders is only on a 1-year deal, so he can come back next year and be that guy. But I think Emmanuel Sanders takes the targets away from Gabriel Davis. I think he takes away some of those touchdowns and some of those yards. So I'd probably say stat-wise 4,503 or 4 touchdowns.
Okay, so a dip in production, but not efficiency, maybe just because of what the Bills have in the room. Okay,
and he's kind of their deep threat.
Right.
Okay, he's the beneficiary. I like to call him the beneficiary because
everybody else.
Nobody's double covering him, right? But anyway, let's not forget.
Eric, hold on.
What's up, man?
Heather, baby girl, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Y'all, listen. I hope y'all know, and I'm gonna touch on this, and I'm gonna get off of it, okay? Because it's a hot topic. But don't nobody give a shit about what Cole Beasley says in the media. Brandon Beane, Sean McDermott, tell him to shut the hell up. It's training camp time. We got to focus. We all making this a big deal, and it ain't.
Well, wait a second. It ain't. Who's making this a big deal?
Fans are making this a big deal.
Oh, are we sure fans are making it a big deal? Because it sort of seems like Cole Beasley's making it a big deal.
Yes, exactly.
He is.
Sort of.
He totally is.
And he admitted, he said, I'm a distraction. I'm going to cut this out. I'm done with this. And that was after his January comments, which said, I don't run my social media more. If I was younger, if I was my younger self, I'd go back and I'd say, don't use social media because it's a distraction. Don't do this. So it sounds a little like to me that Cole Beasley's being a hypocrite and he's going against the wishes of the franchise, which I know have reached out to him, reached out to his agent, reached out to his representation and said, can you please stay the fuck away from your social media? Put your phone down, put everything down, and move on. So what I will say is,
but we're not cutting him. We're not cutting him.
I don't believe they are cutting him.
That's all I'm saying.
I do believe that, or how about this? If he did end up getting cut at the end of training camp, I would not be as surprised today as I would have been 3 months ago. And it's only because this is we, not me. This is an organization that asks you to put your ego, put your statistics, put everything aside and focus on your 111th. And this is about me, not we. And that's a problem. And if he does not step in line, short of Josh Allen, there ain't a lot of untouchables on this team that could Antonio Brown it, which, by the way, that's kind of what he's doing. He's borderline Antonio Brown in it right now. So it would just be cool if he could turn it off, shut the hell up, and stop making everybody think he's a crazy man, because that's what he sounds like.
Listen, I'm going to drop this quote from a very a great philosopher by the name of Patrick Mahomes. I'll see it when I believe it. I will see it when I believe it. It ain't happening. Listen, he produces. He is just as important as Stephon Diggs' offense. Cole Beasley is that important to this offense. And I don't
agree about his importance.
I don't. And we know that the Pagulas aren't necessarily, I know they're getting better at being at the forefront of social issues and thus forth, but I don't see this coming to a point where they're going to have to dismiss Cole Beasley. However, I do agree with the locker room dynamic. It's training camp time. We got stuff to do. We're trying to win Super Bowls. Can you just shut the hell up so we can do our thing? Somebody needs to take Cole Beasley's phone.
That's right.
Hide it from him.
What they need
unless
to do
unless he's reading raps. If you're not reading raps, you don't need a phone.
Right. And negative press is good press. Don't forget.
Yeah.
Well, he's getting tons of attention. He's selling tons of rap albums.
No, they need to do a
he's
practice.
Stirring it up on purpose.
They need to do a practice session with media and just drill him to death and make him repeat over and over again. No, we're not going to talk about that. Let's talk about football. No, we're not going to talk about that. Let's talk about football. No, we're not going to talk about that. Let's talk about football. Because I swear to freaking God, if he says one word during the season or even the preseason or anything else, then I would cut him. But I think the organization has made it very clear you are no longer speaking on this topic. I don't care if it's on your own time,
do you want
on
to
our
know why,
time, or
though,
anything else. You're not saying anything.
and just to add on to this, the reason is because when Cole Beasley is on social media speaking about this stuff, he's not just speaking about his own opinion. He is essentially speaking on behalf of his team. And that is the me, not we situation. And here, I want to be on record, and I'll go on the radio and say this. I don't care whether or not Cole Beasley is or is not vaccinated. I don't care. It is his choice, as a lot of these double standard folks would like to say, his body, his choice, even though that's another conversation I'd like to bring up, because I bet you don't agree with that exact saying when it comes to certain other things in life. But what I will say is,
Nate, you're killing me tonight, Nate. You're killing me.
I like Cole Beasley. I think he has a right to have his opinion. I believe he has a right to voice that opinion. But when you become a part of the situation that he is a part of now, in the time in which we are getting into, which is football time, this is a distraction. And it's a distraction that he is continuing to create. And it's not just by saying he doesn't want to get vaccinated. It's not by just continuing to battle with people. It's retweeting crazy stuff, dude. It is a distraction when you're out there. Listen, and it doesn't, I don't care what your politics are about this. That is not being brought up in this situation. And that's why I think it's important for me when I have this opinion about wanting him to shut up. It does not have to do with my political believing he should be vaccinated, which, by the way, I'll go on record as saying I think he should be vaccinated. Josh Allen's not vaccinated. At least that's what I believe he's not. Guess what? Nobody talks about it because he won't bring it up. And it's as easy as taking the Josh Allen route, which is, I don't want to talk about it. I don't feel comfortable. It's not your business. It's mine and my family's. And guess what we would all do? That sounds great, Josh. Just like Josh is way more polarizing of a player than Cole Beasley. If Cole Beasley adopted Josh Allen's method on communicating about the vaccine, we wouldn't be talking about it and wasting our breath about it on this show right now.
Absolutely. And let me add this to this. And it is political, but here on the Hoof, Eric, you would attest to this, that we've always said we're not going to shy away from topics, right? We're just not going to do that. I'll bring up Kaiir Irving. Kaiir Irving is an African-American player who's crazy as shit. He's got some ideas out there. Earth is flat. Ain't nobody. Listen, you black, your mama, your granddaddy, you know the earth ain't flat. They will smack the shit out of you. You say some shit like that at the dinner table. So we got some people out there that be talking all kinds of crazy stuff, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion and what they believe, right? Cole Beasley is our Kaiir Irving. He's going to say what he's going to say, and that's cool, right? And people have a right to choose how they want to believe, what they want to believe, what's practical, what's not, what's crazy. It don't matter. At the end of the day, in this context, just play football. If you're gonna speak about something that's going to change lives. What he's talking about is not going to change lives. Not in a positive way. You're just pissing people off. Just because you have a platform. And if you have a platform like that, you should use it for good. People like LeBron James use their platforms for good. Now, he did say some stupid shit a few months ago, and he came out and apologized. I don't see that same humility from Cole Beasley. Lucky for us, and we'll end it here. Lucky for us, we have a great organization. We got people in charge who are leaders. If this was Rex Ryan's crew, this would be a shitstorm times 12, but we don't have that, so thank God. So we are good here. But yes, Cole should shut the hell up. Play football and catch the ball and fix your leg. That's all I need you to do, buddy. And give me some more raps. Give me some more bangers. Do that, and we're cool. We're cool. Are we good on that?
Just catch the ball and stay healthy.
Yeah.
500 yards catching, that'd be nice. 500 yards receiving, that'd be nice.
Vlad says, Earth is flat. Right? And this is why I love this show, because you guys make this show, like, you guys crack me the hell up all the freaking time. All the time. I really do appreciate it. Okay, so now that we've kind of established some stuff, okay, let's talk about this whole idea. You know, when the Bills came out and they said the Bills have signed, Emmanuel Sanders. Now, I want you guys to keep this brief, and then I'm going to start the monologue on this discussion. I want to know what your initial reaction was when we released John Brown and we got Emmanuel Sanders. Nate, we'll start with you. Anthony, Eric, go right ahead. What was your initial feelings about dropping John Brown and then getting Emmanuel Sanders?
Well, I think it was a pretty telegraphed move, really, from the end of the season. I think it made the most sense from a a salary cap casualty situation. I think more so. I think this team would have likely liked to bring John Brown back. I think they know that they will miss the role that he played in this offense. Having said that, I think the move to Emmanuel Sanders is one that I do believe is a good one for them, because I believe he brings a little bit more. Now, the step back that you take in the vertical game, I believe you might take a step and a half. I'm going to stop short of saying 2 full steps forward in the intermediate game. And this offense is where I believe it's the most dynamic, and where I think this team can grow even a little bit more in 2021 is in that deep intermediate passing game. Those 15 to 22-yard throws that Eric and I are constantly breaking down, and those middle crossers. We know that Josh Allen, historically, you start to go back to his film at Wyoming, those deep double post concepts where you can really conflict those deep defenders. Those are areas of the field that I believe Emmanuel Sanders is far more gifted at and far more nuanced in his route running on those in-breaking routes. I believe you're going to have a more reliable pass catcher over the middle of the field. And those are the areas where I believe you are getting that upgrade over John Brown. Now, the question is, will teams be able to sit on or squat more on some of the Bills' short game because there isn't that threat to go over the top? And I think that's really where you need to rely on Gabriel Davis's development as that team's primary deep threat, but also be able to integrate and potentially explore the options that you have with Isaiah McKenzie as a number 5 wide receiver, a guy that maybe you hadn't relied on as much in the past, but he flashed the ability to be a deep threat. He flashed the ability to be a primary contributor in that Miami Dolphins game. So do I believe you can replace John Brown with just Emmanuel Sanders? I don't believe so. I believe you're going to need a platoon effort on some of the other guys on where the areas you're missing, but I do believe you are taking a notable step forward as a pass catcher and route runner over the middle of the field.
Yeah, I think Nate has a point with the speed changing, right? It does change this offense in the fact that, we don't have John Brown speeding down the field, and we always knew that he was a threat at any point in time as, a player like that to go down the field and catch a deep ball. However, my initial reaction, that was your question here, I was super excited. I love Emmanuel Sanders. I've been talking about him in Denver for years. I said, for years, the Bills need a receiver like this. Before we had Stephon Diggs, a guy who catches the ball, who runs crisp routes, who just is where he needs to be, who the quarterback can rely on every single play. I don't care if he's double covered. You can throw to him and he's going to catch it. He's that damn good. And I think in this offense, especially with Stephon Diggs getting the attention and he has the chemistry, and with the other players we have on the field, this dynamic offense, Emmanuel Sanders could thrive here. And I truly believe, I was super excited for this. The short game, you're right, that's going to change. He's a route runner. He's an inbound route. Put him on the outside, cut him in. Every single play. You could do that every single play. And I'm throwing
Anthony, we got a question. So Joe Miller brings up a great point. Joe Miller is one of my best friends here. He says, "Who is watching that camera over your shoulder, Anthony?"
Big brother is always watching.
Big brother is always watching.
That's right.
No, actually, it's funny when you mentioned Duke Williams, the camera actually turned right to you.
Right? Yeah, that's right.
I had a little caption that says, "Where's Christian Wade?"
Yes, I know. That's the other one.
Is Christian Wade eligible for the 53-man roster?
God damn, boy, they're killing me.
He might get that 6th spot for receiver. I don't know.
So Emmanuel Sanders changes the offense, but I love him in the offense. I think it makes the offense better, period.
Okay.
It's not
It's
no longer about the speed,
Eric,
but it does make it better.
Pretty sure you said my name. Anyway, pretty sure. Anyway, my initial reaction was, I like John Brown. He's made big plays, but it wasn't really surprising for me because I think the strategy of what Josh Allen needs to do this season has changed. Last offseason, I think, is we had to improve the deep game, right? So John Brown helps with that. Yeah. Bill Belichick, right?
It's a Patriots terrible. That's hilarious, bro. That's funny. That is funny. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
All good. But this year, I think Josh Allen did too much for this team last season. And I think they need to work on getting the ball out faster, right? I want to see Josh Allen take less hits. I know Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott have been they've been mentioning that throughout this offseason. And I think Emmanuel Sanders is that guy. Coming off a season with New Orleans, Drew Brees is all about that short passing game. We know Josh Allen's strengths are the intermediate passing games from 10 to 20 yards. And I think, Emmanuel Sanders is going to really help out in zone concepts. I think he's one of the best in the league as far as knowledge when it comes to that. His zone targets last year were 53 of the yards that he had, 700 yards roughly. Zone yards were 575 of that. So, I mean, he's going to help out in that sense a ton. And any defense that is going to be guarding Cole Beasley, Stephon Diggs, and Emmanuel Sanders, and they're going to play a zone concept, it's going to be a nightmare for them.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So let me see if I can convince you guys that Emmanuel Sanders is in fact an upgrade over John Brown. So let me give you some scope. So the Bills in total, they have 3 of the top 5 wide receivers in efficiency against zone coverage in 2020. That's Sanders, Diggs, and Beasley. Okay, what Emmanuel Sanders brings to the table. Now, I'm comparing Emmanuel Sanders to John Brown. Here's some things that I found watching some game tape, and this is not just last year. This is time from the Denver Broncos and throughout his career. I think he's more physical at the catch point than John Brown. We saw against the Baltimore Ravens where Josh Allen threw a really good ball that was a little bit in front of John Brown. Sometimes in those situations, he really doesn't give, in my opinion, enough effort to fight for the ball. We've seen that more than one occasion. We all know that Emmanuel Sanders is comfortable finding soft spot in zones. I think he's better in the 50-50 ball. We really didn't get an opportunity to see John Brown win 50-50 balls. I think his run after the catch is a little bit better. Last year when Michael Thomas was injured, Emmanuel Sanders became their number 1 wide receiver. Now, Alvin Kamara outproduced him yards of receptions, but it was Emmanuel Sanders, the guy that they just brought in. He was the guy that Drew Brees leaned on. And when Drew Brees got hurt, Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston, these are the guys that he leaned on. So Emmanuel Sanders was that guy. He was, he was second in targets, 82 targets last year. That's a lot of volume, 82 targets. I think his efficiency as a route runner with the ability to shift gears throughout his routes to create separation. That's one of the things that I noticed, that it's not just he has like 3 different gears that he can go in when he's running his route stems. I think he's scheme versatile. We know Brian Dable loves his versatile wide receivers where, you can line up outside, you can line up inside. I think that's one of the things that John Brown can do it, but I think Emmanuel Sanders does a little bit better. We talked about he's a threat at all 3 levels. I think, Nate, you kind of mentioned that. And one of the things that I want you to think about and go watch the film, that when it comes to the hitch route, he is really good. I would say he's probably one of the top 5, top 10 wide receivers in the NFL when it comes to running hitch routes. That's the comeback route that goes inside. We call that a hitch route. So he's been one, and I think according to it was like since 2017, he's been one of the highest ranked receivers on hitches that resulted in first downs in the NFL. Some of the things I found. He worked out with Jerry Jeudy last year. Now, Jerry Jeudy coming into the NFL was one of the best route runners in the league last year, right? Jerry Jeudy, I mean, you go watch the film. That guy is a supreme route runner. So and the last thing I'll drop this is that one of the things that's an underrated thing that I think that he does over John Brown is that he shows the ability to sell vertical when outside leverage is being presented in front of him. Okay. And he can win on out routes. Now, we've heard Josh Allen talk about this year. He wants to get better on in breaking routes, right? So you got a guy coming in that gives you the ability that you can trust on those short yard situations, on those medium routes that you guys were mentioning earlier before, that can win in those situations. I think in this offense, for what the Bills do, I think he's an upgrade over John Brown. So you guys can take your shots at that. Tell me what you think.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, I don't disagree either. I think there are parts of his game that are absolutely upgrades. I do think that they will miss a level of that deep threat ability. The guy that can just outrun a defender in the last 30 seconds of a football game, like we saw against the Dolphins. I think it's what they gain in I think route running competence, what they gain in the short area, what they gain in the ability to listen. This was one of the pass happiest and most successful passing teams on first down in the league last year. They put themselves in more second and short situations than just about any team in football. Mm-hmm. That will have to continue. And if Josh Allen continues to be faced with 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 5s, 3rd and 6s over the next year, over the next 2 years, it doesn't matter who's playing wide receiver because they're going to have so many opportunities, to be successful with those types of situations on 3rd down. And again, if this is a team that could get a little better, more efficient running the football, you shouldn't have so many of those 3rd and 6 situations. So I think for me, what this comes down to is, are you willing to give up a little bit of that deep threat for a more reliable target in the middle of the field and in zone coverage? And I think the answer to that question is yes. I guess the only question now is, can they be as deadly against man coverage when teams run man? And that was my main concern in the Chiefs game, is I thought they got bullied. And I think Emmanuel Sanders is harder to bully. And if you were in a game where you feel like you're getting bullied, I think Emmanuel Sanders is the guy that you can say, all right, we need you to win against Rashad Breeland on 3rd and 5 in the AFC Championship game, and you're a dog. You're not going to get pushed off at the line of scrimmage. I think that's, especially when you've got Stephon Diggs getting double teamed, they need a guy who can get off a number 2 corner playing press coverage in this league. And in a division with a team like the Dolphins right now, who have 2 number 1 corners, maybe right now. We don't know if that'll be the case if Xavier Howard gets traded. But my point is, if you're facing teams twice a year that feature 2 number 1 corners who can both press with the best of them, you better have another guy on the other side of Stephon Diggs that can get off a physical press coverage. And I think that Emmanuel Sanders can do that.
So let me throw this out there. So I know, Nate, you kind of talked about, the Bills kind of needing that deep threat, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes I think it's so easy for us as fans and content creators. We get kind of locked into what we think we know. Right. This is no slight against nobody else out there, but we have to understand. Look at the roster. Stephon Diggs is a guy in Minnesota. He was a deep ball guy, right? Because Adam Thielen kind of ate up everything from the short to the intermediate. They use Stephon Diggs deep. So maybe, what do you guys think that Brian Daboll is going to start using Diggs deep more now that he's going to be seeing more double coverage, and that's why Sanders is here to kind of eat up those short to intermediate along with Cole Beasley? What do you guys think about that?
Well, that kind of gets to what more.
I think it's the same. I mean, Stephon Diggs was 30% of yards that were 20 plus yards were. I mean, Diggs led the receiver room. Beasley was second. John Brown only had 10%.
Mm-hmm. And I think he didn't play Eric's point, and not only this, to Eric's point though, I think it's less about who's going to run the deep routes. Exactly. Because I think we already know Stephon Diggs does that. We already know Gabriel Davis does that. Right. I think the question is there a player on this roster that when he starts running upfield, defensive coordinators hold their breath? Do they have a guy that will just simply outrun your cornerback? Mm-hmm. And I think that was John Brown. And I think if you look across the league, Tyreek Hill is their wide receiver 1. He does everything, but he's also the guy that will just flat out run right past your best cornerback, and it ain't nothing.
True.
And I think that is the one thing when you have an arm like Josh Allen, you do want to have a guy. Listen, Gabriel Davis is going to win a lot of 50-50 balls. They're not 50-50 balls with Gabriel Davis. They're more like 60-40 balls. Right. And you talk about Stephon Diggs, it's the same thing. These are guys that they can – and both those guys are going to beat guys at the line of scrimmage. Particularly, Stephon Diggs creates his separation not by running past you, but by nuance and by that route running ability and creating that separation at the line of scrimmage, not past the line of scrimmage.
Exactly.
What I think where you're going to miss John Brown is just that at the 10-yard mark, if he's past your face, Josh Allen knows he's throwing the ball. He may not be open at 10 yards, but at 35, 50 yards, he will be open. And that is something I do believe they'll miss in this offense.
So that's why I think just looking at the matchups, right? If you think of, give me the best, whatever you want to do, man coverage, zone coverage, cornerbacks out there. You brought up Miami, Nate, which I think is a good example if they have all 3 guys out there. But you put our offense up against them, and I just think it is a different kind of philosophy. You're no longer trying to send a guy deep, but no matter what, somebody's open 5 to 10 yards. I don't care how good of coverage you have. You're not double covering Stephon Diggs and everybody else on the field, Emmanuel Sanders, Dawson Knox or Hollister if he's out there. And it's all about now the route running and the hands. We've completely shifted from where we were 3 years ago when nobody could catch the damn ball. on this team, literally just dropsies everywhere, right? And now we got Stephon Diggs, we've got Emmanuel Sanders, we got Cole Beasley. These guys are absolutely reliable, and we're probably going to be one of the lowest drop percentages in the NFL, which is going to be a complete shift from where we were, just a few years ago. And that it does change the philosophy, right? You don't need necessarily to get 25 yards in deep. We might be lower or lowest on the field on the NFL in that category. But if we lead the league in passing because we are able to dink and dunk in 5 and 10 and 15-yard gains every single play, it's not really going to.
So let me bring something to light here. And I know a lot of people, we love the analytics, right? But let's be real. Y'all ever play football or a sport where you're out there in the field and you see this kid out here that's just outrunning everybody? You're gonna tell me that shit don't matter? It matters.
That scares the shit out of you. No, I listen. And
it matters. Nate, you played in college.
There is something to be said about straight line speed as not being the only way to beat teams deep in the league, and no one is arguing that. What we're arguing is the threat of a player being able to run past 11 guys in your defense keeps people up at night, and you have to scheme. And if let's just say John Brown doesn't even get a target all game, but he's occupying 15% of the deep safeties, the deep third safeties, time and energy. That's 15% he's not focusing on Stephon Diggs. If you have to build your defensive coverage scheme against the Bills to ensure that you do not get beat deep by a guy that outruns everybody, you're going to have so many other things that you can do to counteract the things they'll be doing to try to stop that. So what this comes down to is not the requirement of straight line speed, but what the straight line speed element does to how defenses try to defend you.
Let me add another element to that. So they say hands and eyes tell lies. So like when you can manipulate your hands, your eyes, your feet, and movement to create leverage at the top of routes, that's what's most important.
Yeah.
That's why those guys.
But we're missing, and I'm not going to sit here and be a homer and be like, pump these guys up. But that's why I think the Bills may have drafted Marquez Stevenson. Now take that snapshot and let's step back a little bit. What did Brandon Mean say? We weren't fast enough. We are not fast enough. They went out and got a guy that's fast. Now he didn't run great. His 40 time wasn't great at his combine, but Devin Hester's wasn't either. And Devin Hester, he was the king of setting things up. And you just think what Marquez Stevenson is walking into. You have three of the top 15 route runners in the NFL. You mean to tell me he's not going to benefit from that if he doesn't apply himself? I'm not saying he's going to come in here and he's going to just blow everything out of the water, but I think the thinking man coordinator that Brian Dable is, I think he can carve a role for a guy like that. Like you guys are talking about, a guy that you have to pay attention to when he's on the field. No one thought Tyreek Hill was going to be what Tyreek Hill is today. We just knew he was fast as hell, and he went to a small school. I'm just saying, break what you think you know and just kind of put yourself in Brandon Beane's thinking cap and think, okay, man, this may be bigger than what I originally thought. There may be some merit to drafting a guy like Marquez Stevenson late in the draft just because he's fast. There may be something to drafting the 6'4" Isaiah Hodgins, who arguably had the best hands in the draft, because maybe we're going to use him as a red zone threat, or we're going to turn him into a possessive receiver that's deadly at running routes, which he needs to improve on. But we just don't know what these players are going to develop into. But it's just something to think about. That's all. What are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah, the percentage of yards of 20-plus yard catches in college football last year, Marquez Stevenson was second in the NCAA.
Wow.
Minimum 60 receptions. So, I mean, to your point, that's exactly his strength, is just run straight. It's top end speed.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the reason he's drafted. I mean, we'll see about the kick returns and things like that. I mean, it's a different level in the NFL. But that's the stuff that'll keep us busy during training camp.
So the last take on the night, right? The last take on the night, we're going to go, what's that take? And the take is we're going to wrap this up in our conclusion here. Is based off of what we talked about, do you guys think that Emmanuel Sanders is an upgrade over John Brown? Yes or no? And in the chat, please tell me if you think Emmanuel Sanders is an upgrade over John Brown. What do you guys think?
I mean, I'll go, because I have obviously said that I am Emmanuel Sanders fan, stan, whatever you want to call me. For years here in Denver, I've been saying that the guy was underappreciated and I would love to have him on my team. And when the Bills were rumored, I was like, oh my God, I wish they had gotten him. Never thought it would happen this late in his career, if you will. But I have to go with yes, because more reliable in terms of his hands, in terms of his play, in terms of his health. It's easy to overlook John Brown's 2019. Let's remember when this guy was our number one receiver and he earned it and he was the guy. But is he that guy now after the injury? I don't think he's going to have that production in Vegas, So, I mean, right now I would rather have Emmanuel Sanders than John Brown. Absolutely 100% yes. And I'm so excited to see what this offense is going to be with him.
Nate?
I am just going to keep the theme of the day, which is me agreeing with Anthony.
Why? Why would you tie yourself to him like that?
The guy is handsome and he's knowledgeable. I don't know what you guys want from
do.
him.
I love it. I love it.
That's something his mom would have said in the chat room, by the way. He's very handsome. He's so knowledgeable. But no, I do agree. I do believe that the sum of the parts here, I believe that he brings a different element than John Brown. And I think it's a needed element, and the route running and what I talked about, the physicality, being able to go up against that physical man coverage. I got to agree with my man, Anthony.
Okay.
It's going to be on my gravestone.
You're getting suspiciously close tonight. I think it's an upgrade as well. I mean, like we mentioned, there is some aspects that we're going to miss, but the fact that, Emmanuel Sanders can line up anywhere on the line, he can be interchangeable in the slot or the outside, that's just going to cause a lot of problems for defenses. Like I mentioned earlier, that short to intermediate range, there's going to be so many people who are really good at finding holes in the zone with Cole Beasley and Emmanuel Sanders added to that. I mean, it's another threat on the inside and the middle. Josh Allen's biggest strength last year was about, between 10 and 20 yards over the middle. His quarterback rating was like 155. So I think Emmanuel Sanders contributes to that. And it plays to Josh Allen's strength. And I think that's going to be a good asset for us.
So I'm going to go with that he is an upgrade. So in conclusion tonight, we can rest assured tonight and say, in our opinion, that on the Hoof Live with Nate Geary, that Emmanuel Sanders brings more to the offense than John Brown did. I think we can put this to bed, right? And we can move on to another topic for another day. I want to say thank you to everyone who tuned in to the Hoof Live tonight. Nate Geary, before we sign off of here, can you tell us how our listeners can find you and your content?
Absolutely. So you'll be hearing more of me sometimes. I'm sure somebody in the chat will be like, oh, no, get to hear more Nate. You will be hearing – I just got done with my extended fill-in of the morning show, which was great, hanging out with Howard Simon. But my normal Sports Talk Saturdays, 11 to 2 on WGR. And then as we get into preseason here, as we get into particularly training camp, you will likely hear me on Sundays as well. Up until Bills game day during the preseason, I'll be back in my same role during network pregame, network halftime, and local postgame for GR. So really looking forward to it, man.
So my only complaint, bro, is that you have not had me on. Like, I just don't know. I don't know what's wrong with you, dog.
And
like, I don't know
not
why
only
you haven't
that,
had me on.
Listen, not only that, I've reluctantly had Aaron Quinn on before. So if he's been on, you have to be on the show.
Yeah. Shout out Aaron Quinn.
If someone's letting Aaron Quinn on the radio, they might as well give you a doctorate.
Hey,
there you go.
Aaron's one of the homies. So, and to wrap this all up, man, this is the Cover One Network, and all of our guys grind. Nate does a lot of work with us with Eric Turner and so forth, man. Stay tuned here all season long, and not just the Hoof Live, but Cover One as a network. We got a lot of things going on. We got shows every night of the week, pretty much, and then we got podcasts that drop. We got film sessions that drop all the time, man. And if you're one of those football fans that likes to dive deep when it comes to the season, by all means, man, tune in to Cover One, because this is our expertise. This is what we do. Here on the Hoof Live, we give you a little bit of the nerdy film junkie, but we also give you relevance and funny, and that's our goal. And so this season, we're going to be giving away jerseys every 4 weeks when the season starts. So please like, follow, and subscribe. The more you guys tune into our show, the better off we'll be. and the more we can buy jerseys and give them out to you guys. It's just a way of us saying thank you, and we do appreciate all the support. And if it weren't for you guys, man, we would not be here today. So thank you for all the support. This has been a fantastic show. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Anthony. Nate, thank you so much for giving your time.
Pleasure.
Emmanuel Sanders is an upgrade over John Brown, and we out of here.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.